Hi everyone, so this video is about the Fujifilm X-S20 as you can see from the title itself. Now the Fujifilm X-S20 has been released quite a while back. It was released in August 2023 in India, and I want to talk to you about the pros and cons that I've seen, and just to give you a bit of context as to my usage of the camera so that you understand where I am coming from. Now, till now, I've predominantly shot street photographies, some portrait photographies. I have also taken it out as a travel photography, predominantly in Nagaland, as well as my trips in the mountains. And you'll see photos of those places, you'll see astro, you'll see portraits like I mentioned, you'll also see videos. And all of that gave me a bit of perspective on this camera and how it performs, right? So I'll be talking about all of these aspects in terms of how the photos are, the quality in terms of how much you can punch in terms of zooming, that is the resolution. You're going to also see the stabilization, you're also going to see the color signs and how I prefer, right? So all of these you're going to see in this video. Now a few things that won't be covered in this video is wildlife in terms of the long lenses, right? Because currently I do not have that. I am starting out as a photographer. I do not have those lenses per se, so those things will be beyond this review, but definitely as and when I'm going to get those lenses, maybe in a year or so. So yeah, I'll be covering it. If I get some for review, I may cover it, but yeah, that's a long shot. So yeah, currently I'm using the X-S20 with the kit lens, that is the 18 to 55 2.8 to f4, along with the TT Artisan 7.5 f2. So you're going to see samples from all of these lenses with this camera, and you're going to see the pros and cons, right? So we're going to talk about each of the following sections that you can see on the screen. And yeah, let's get started. I'll just run you through basic specs, which I think you can find anywhere or everywhere. This uses Fujifilm's tried and trusted 26 megapixel X-Trans sensor with the latest processor, X processor, which is there in the XT5, XH2, XH2S. Now, what that does is it provides very good picture quality. So I have shot in festivals, I've shot it in mountains, I've shot astro, I've shot videos obviously which you can see currently, and what I get from this is good colors, consistent colors which I can predict, right? And all of that, again, like I'm mentioning, at a very good price. And for someone who doesn't have a PC system or a Mac system or a laptop, whatever, to edit very complex videos, I can trust on this camera to give me good output at no fuss. That's the thing that I want to highlight here. So the reason why I personally didn't buy a Sony was because I felt, and when I was trying both the cameras, so I tried the Sony A7, the Alpha 7C, and the XS10 before buying this camera. Now what I found, the colors were slightly better here, straight out of the camera, right, at the profiles. What I was feeling was the Sony had a bit of a greener hue while the Fuji had a magenta hue. Okay, now this is all subjective. I prefer a magenta hue over a green hue. Okay, and that's why I wanted to buy this camera, amongst other reasons which I'll get into in my video, where I'll take you through why I chose this camera over its competitors. I'm not saying any of the competitors are maybe worse or better, but for me this camera made sense, hence I got it. Key elements to the Fujifilm X-S20 is the size. Okay, so it's not a very big camera, so you're going to see right now how small the camera is in relation to my phone, which is the Samsung S21 Ultra, without the lens obviously. So you're going to see that, Now what I want to highlight with this is that it is a small camera, and for my use, so I use it predominantly, like I mentioned, going out in the streets, and predominantly for landscape photography, videography and wildlife, which I have planned for later. Okay, now what that allows me is predominantly saving weight. Now one of the key considerations that you will have with this camera is the size, cost and performance, right? What trade-off are you getting? Now while the comparison directly becomes with, hey, is it better than full frame? Now personally, I don't know whether it is better than full frame, whether it's worse than full frame. I think any good photographer, videographer can extract good results from their tool. Now I bought this camera predominantly because I wanted something which is light, which doesn't pinch my pocket and which performs good. This camera checks all of those boxes. In terms of handling, now let's talk about the handling of the camera is very good. The grip is very nice. The dials are at their respective places, but let's talk about a gripe I have. Now correct me in the comments if you think that I'm wrong, and if you have a suggestion, please give the suggestion. But the front dial, right, the front dial that you have, so if you're holding it like this, right, you can see on the screen, that controls the aperture. Now there is no way I can actually change that to something else because I have the Fujifilm lens which has aperture control. So if I want to change it, I can't. So that is kind of where I feel the camera can improve a lot. It has enough dials for me at least. So I would want it to be mapped to something else, but I can't. But the other dials can be mapped. So that is where, you know, I find it a bit odd of a decision choice to give it. I mean, I can't change it to anything other than aperture. So that is one drawback I have with this camera. Now another small thing is, see, I understand they have the XT series, the XH series, right? But if you had one or two, maybe at least one custom button at the front of the camera, right? So in the front of the body, so when you're holding it, if you had that, I think that would have been great. So I know that is there in the XT series, maybe that's why they didn't put it, but hey, I mean, you could have put just one, maybe it would have helped. So those are the things that I want to talk about in terms of my overall feedback of the hardware. Now this camera is not weather sealed. Okay, this is not weather sealed. Now I have used it in Nagaland in quite bad conditions. Okay, so it was raining, as you can see in the photo. The camera got relatively wet, but it performed very well, although I was covering the top of it with my hand, so I was shooting like this. So yeah, but still it performed well. The lens performed well, the camera performed well. I haven't seen it suffer from any issues so far. So I think because of that, the camera will be able to perform, but obviously do not expose it to torrential rain. So that's about the ergonomics, handling and hardware, what I have experienced with this camera. Now let's go it on to picture quality. Now the photos that camera produces in your normal HD laptop or maybe even a 2K laptop, which is not a huge screen, you are going to see enough resolution where you can punch in, you can, you know, see, edit photos, all of that is great. Now I have personally used this in Capture One, Capture One trial, Luminar trial, DxO Photo Lab, and I'll get on those in a separate video where I'm going to compare all of the apps and how they render the photos coming out of this camera. But broadly speaking, the photos are very good in terms of the resolution. So again, I am not a wildlife photographer currently in terms of shooting with long lenses and stuff, so that I can't compare as of that. But I did put it in a bigger screen, so it was a 43-inch screen. You can see it right up here. It's the Samsung frame, and what I found there was you can uh, punch in once, right? So in the remote, if you punch in once, that's the limit of the resolution that you're going to see here. Okay, if you're in a 2K monitor or an HD monitor, you can zoom in more, and it also depends on your the display size. If it's a 43-inch monitor, or a bigger monitor, if it's a 4K display, then obviously it's going to be more tougher to crop in more than one time, right? So hopefully that kind of gives you a bit of clarity in terms of how much you can punch in and what's the quality like. Okay, so that's from a resolution standpoint. Now from a noise performance, the noise performance of this camera is predictable. Okay, and that's, I would say, a good thing. Now noise performance for me is not a huge issue because we do have applications which can take care of your noise performance. So even if you're buying a micro four thirds camera, or if you're buying this or an APS-C, whatever, so I don't think noise is too big of an issue. I think a lot of people find noise to be too big of an issue in photographs. It's not. It's actually a very big issue in video, because video, the noise pattern can be disturbing, and especially in slow motion. So you will see a lot of slow motion photos. When the light is good, you will see it's completely different versus slow motion with noisy footage, which is again completely different. So it all depends on light. Any camera that you get, if it has good light, it's going to perform well. If you don't have good light, it's not going to perform well. So that's in a nutshell of the image quality that you're going to get. Obviously if you're using 6K, it's going to be very good. Now this is the last one that I want to make, is the 6.2K that you get here, which is open gate. Now a lot of people do comment a lot on open gate being this next big thing. To me, the 6.2K that this camera produces is very, very good. Now I'm going to show to you an example of how much you can punch in, and the detail that is in the 6.2K versus 4K, it is quite a lot. So you're going to see in this footage of a woodpecker, and you're going to have the 4K footage and the 6.2K footage to showcase how much better the 6.2K is. To be very honest, I was kind of shocked because I did not think 6.2K will be that good, but it gives you very, very good picture quality, like very clear, very neat, and it just allows you latitude which 4K doesn't have. I personally did not think it would be this good, but trust me, it is good. So if you have a fan, I know it's an extra step, but hey, at least it gives you the option. So that's all about the picture quality that I'm going to talk about in this video. In the next video, you're going to see what I feel of the autofocus along with the IBIS. So that's for the next video, but hopefully you found this video helpful in terms of what my experience was with the illustrated photos that you saw. Let me know your feedback on this video. This is my first video on YouTube. I am going to learn from your feedback. I'm going to probably have better videos and whatnot, but yeah, that's it for this video. In this channel, you're going to see more vlogs coming up. You're going to see me travel to different places. You're going to see how this camera performs, because this is my only camera. Obviously I have my mobile, which I'm going to obviously use as well. So you're going to see the differences here or there, but broadly you now understand where I stand with this camera. And if you're wanting to buy this camera or any other camera for that matter, I'll encourage that if you've not used a camera, that you go ahead and buy whatever it is which is affordable for you. The reason why I say that is, so there is this YouTuber called P.T. Lambert. Many of you would know him. Now he told one thing which always resonates with me, that you can buy the best gear, but if you're going, you are going to get photos when you travel, right? You're going to places. So I'll rather have you save money and then go to different places. So, and then take photos, obviously. I'm not saying do not buy a full frame camera, medium format camera, whatever. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is, if you have the budget that you can buy a camera, whatever camera it is, and then go and use it in different locations, then buy that camera. Do not buy a camera and then not have money to go places. That's what my recommendation is. So yeah, that's it for this video. Hopefully you like the video, and I hope your photography journey, videography journey is very good. And if I can help you in anything, do let me know. I'll be more than willing to help. Thank you so much.